Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
He does this all the time. We were out once in Hollywood, and I can't remember. He had many shots of tequila, as did I, and something happened, and he was like, "You want to punch me in the face right now, don't you? You want to punch me in the face?" It was like that scene from Step Brothers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Go on, motherfucker, swing a shot. By the time you swing on me, I'll hit you in the face 6-7 times. You won't be able to touch you." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Dominic? I am not going to punch you." And then my older brother, who just got off a plane from England, who was very inebriated due to the tequila and the fly, he's like, "Whoa, stop, guys, stop, don't fight." And he's turning it into a way bigger scene than it was. And we were with Jay Glazer, and it was actually Jay Glazer's bar. And Jay's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" I'm like, "Dominic thinks we're going to fight." So that's just an average night out with me and Dominic. So on that note,
when we get him on, I'm going to ask him his perspective on this night, because maybe there's something missing from this story. I don't know, because there's two sides.
Of course, yeah. There's always two sides to every story, but there's a one side of the guy that's 215 pounds with 3 shots of tequila, and there's a side of the guy that's 135 pounds who did 10 shots of tequila. Okay, I know which way I'll lean, because we were sitting there and Dominic was just shot after shot after shot. I'm like, "Whoa, you're really fucking getting after it. God bless you." On that note, Shannon, want to call the guy?
Yep, just give me 5 seconds.
By the way, Dominic's awesome. I'm joking. You know, I'm not trying to talk bad of him. There's always two sides to every story.
Hey, Dominic, can you hear me?
There he is.
Barely. It's like real shitty.
Yeah, it's real low.
We hear you beautifully, though. You sound as excited to talk to us as we are to talk to you.
I don't know if you can hear Mike at all. Can you hear Mike at all?
No. Barely.
Is there any way to boost that for him?
I put it
No,
up
it's better to not.
Okay.
It's better to not have to hear Mike. I'll just talk to you.
Exactly.
This is like, I wish I could do this in real life. This is beautiful.
Hey, Dominic, right at the start, just right before I introduced you, I was briefly telling that story about at Jay Glazer's bar after that time, after we worked at Fox, and then we got into that little mini altercation, all in a good, positive way, of course.
Oh, yeah. So I show up to this bar, and first me and Bisping work all day on the desk, and we're already getting at each other all day. Like, we're just kind of throwing low blows all day long on TV. And, we all know Bisping can dish it out, but he has a hard time taking it. So after a while, pick. We get to the bar. He has a couple champagnes. He's like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to have a couple of these champagnes. It'll be all right." And then a couple of his friends fly in from Manchester, including his brother. And when they get there, Michael's happy now. Now he's really good. So a couple more champagne.
I love the other side.
And then, we're drinking, we're having fun, chilling. And then we get into this area where we're all, trying to figure out what we're going to do. And Michael looks at me, and I said something probably a little below the belt. And he gets a little bit upset, and he grabs me by my shirt, and he crinkles it up. He goes, "Listen, you little shit, I'm not going to take you talking to me like that anymore." And while he's looking at me, I kind of look behind me, and I'm like, "Are you talking to me or the guy behind me?" And then he just snaps. And all of a sudden, Jay Glazer comes in. He goes, "Hey," and he's like, Jay Glazer separates us, and he's like looking back and forth with his arms out, all fat and out of shape, breathing hard out of his nose. He's like, "Listen, guys, you can't do this in here. This is my establishment. You can't do this." And then all of a sudden, Michael Bisping's brother comes out of nowhere, and he goes, Bisping, stop it. You're going to get us in trouble." And Bisping just, sleeps his brother in the middle of the club, just lays him out. And then I'm
yeah.
like, my God, that could have been me. Thank God.
Wait a minute, you forgot?
I talked a little bit of sense in him, because first when he was yelling at me, I was like, "Go ahead, Bisping. If you want to do this, we can do this right fucking now." I was like, "We can do this, but I promise you, you're going to swing, you're going to miss. We're in a small place. You can't see very well. I'm going to hit you 10 times before you even hit me once." And he kind of looks at me, and he's like, he thinks about it, and he's like, "I'll probably kill Dominic, but at the same time, he might have a point. He could possibly do what he just said." But then that's when his brother stepped in, and he just slapped his brother instead to take the smart direction. That threw everything off, and then he gets thrown out of the club, and I stay there, and Bisping goes and rips it somewhere else and has a blast living his good life. And that's the end of that story.
Oh, fuck. By the way, the stories weren't that different.
No, they weren't that
It was
different,
awesome.
but my brother did not get punched in the face. So therefore, that just shows the twisted
No, that
sense of reality.
happened.
And
100%.
no, it didn't. No, it didn't.
That happened.
He got a little slap because he caused a massive scene in fucking like
Yeah, a little
a
Oh my
bougie
God, a
bar
little
in West
slap. You were
Hollywood.
like 230 at this point. Your little slap put him on his back, bro.
Anyway, listen.
Change the subject. Look.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not trying to change the subject. I'm just like, oh, because this is what always happens with me and Dominic. We end up arguing all the time. It's fun. It is. It's good. It's good. Where are
Dominic,
you
let me
right
ask
now,
you a
Dominic?
question. Dominic, because here's the thing. Mike, we've talked about this before when you've come up in the past. Mike thinks that you think that you could really beat him up in a fight. Like, he thinks that, like, in your mind, if you guys were to actually throw fisticuffs in a parking lot somewhere, you truly have the confidence that you would beat him in a fight. So once and for all, let's clear the record here because we have you on the phone finally. Do you think you can beat up Michael Bisping?
Absolutely.
Bow, 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 bow. Oh, shit.
But
And
that's why I love him.
Why?
Because even if he knocked me out cold, he knows I'd rip his toe off on the way out.
Oh, shit.
That's why you got to love Dominick Cruz. Anyway, Dominic, you're up in the mountains. Where are you right now?
Well, I'm in Arizona for a family reunion, and I ran A Mountain and Tumamoc Mountain with a couple training partners, Brendan Lognane's out here, Orlando Jimenez, and they're getting ready for fights. So I got good training partners, and I'm just still working. It was a great, tough run.
Nice, good for you then.
Huh?
So what's the plan? What is the plan? When do you want to fight again, and who's that going to be? Any idea?
You know, I'd like to fight before the end of the year, Mike, but, you know, I want to fight for the title. That's the only fight that really makes sense. I mean, you know, if you look at the fight sequence, I broke my arm, and that set me back for a little while, but it's nothing that nobody hasn't done. I mean, we're seeing Conor McGregor's been out for 2 years, and people aren't even asking him, you know, how he's going to look. They're just saying, we can't wait till he's back. And then you hear about me, and you got guys saying, oh, he doesn't deserve it because of this, and that. So I don't deserve a title fight because I broke my arm in half and have a steel plate in there? What sense does that make? Like, that makes no sense to me. So I'm ready for this title fight. I know I'm the top in the division. I know the best sales in the 135-pound division were myself, Cody Garbrandt, and Uriah Faber. Uriah Faber's out. I'm still involved, and Cody Garbrandt just lost. So the only logical fight that makes sense if we're talking about sales is myself against TJ, although TJ doesn't want to give that fight because he doesn't know it, but he's hurting himself because realistically the UFC is trying to promote him and build his brand because he doesn't sell tickets. The reason why he had to have a rematch with Cody is because Cody sells and he doesn't. He just doesn't understand. He gets mad at the UFC saying, man, why are you making me rematch Cody? I already beat him. Well, it's because we're trying to get you tickets and make you money, TJ. But instead, he'd rather go fight guys in a lower division that nobody knows even belongs in the division. He hasn't cleared the division out. And so, you know, my only perk is if you're going to call yourself the best in one division, then you have to clean the division out. And he has not even come close to doing that. He beat two people twice. He beat Barao twice and he beat Cody twice. That does not make you the best in any division. You got to clean it out. So if you want to beat Moraes, Hassan Salagan, myself, you clean the division out, and then you can start dodging fights. But I'm the fight that makes sense. I'm the fight that the fans want to see. That's clear. And, you know, I've got his number. I'm a poison for him in the matchup-wise, and his camp knows it. They're not scared by any means, but they do know that they'd rather have a fight where they can hold the belt a little longer than risk losing it against a poison that would take away all their clout yet again.
So what do you think of all these things that TJ said? I can't remember it word for word, but I'm sure you saw it. He said basically you don't deserve it because you've been out for 2 years. I mean, you kind of touched on that there. What do you think of those comments, and why do you think he's saying those?
Well, he's just a child, so he doesn't. First of all, how does a fighter decide who deserves what? That's not his job. He's not doing that. He's not doing his job. His job is to fight the best guys in the division. That would be Moraes and me. He doesn't want to fight either of us. So that makes no sense, first of all. But besides that, for him to say I don't deserve it doesn't make sense to me because I've done more for this division, hurt with a broken arm, on TV with you and Daniel Cormier than anybody in the entire division, including him, has done in the past 2 years. TJ could fight 3 times this year, and I would have more outreach than him, and do more for the 135-pound division than he has. All TJ is doing right now is holding up the division by whining and skipping fights over. So if he really wants to be a true champion and make the division better, then fight the best guys in the division. If he doesn't want to fight me, okay, fight Moraes then. Moraes is right there. And he's the next best guy in this division that you haven't faced. Fight him, that's fine. I'll take 2 fights if I need to. I'm going to get back up to him. I have no doubt. The only thing I'm saying is a fight that makes sense is me and TJ. If he doesn't want that, fight Moraes, and then I'll fight somebody else, and then I'll get to you. All good. But for him to say I don't deserve it is pretty silly because I haven't just been out sitting there on the sideline. I've been doing work for the division, promoting him, promoting Cody, promoting Moraes, promoting Austin Sal, promoting Sterling, promoting everybody, explaining to the world what they do well. And these guys are saying because I'm not fighting, I'm not doing anything. They're delusional. I'm working while I'm not fighting, and then I come back and work double time while I am fighting. So I'm fighting plus putting out the information on television for everybody to understand. And it just doesn't make sense to say that I don't deserve it because I'm working nonstop.
You had another long layoff a few years ago. It was like it was 2.5 years, I think, something like that. What did you learn from taking that much time off and coming back and being dominant when you came back? Winning the title after that fact. Did you learn anything from that? Was there anything to take from that experience that you can kind of use this time around?
Well, I mean, there's nothing to learn. I mean, if I could have kept fighting, I would have. Nobody wants a layoff. You want to keep fighting. You want to keep working, but your body does what it does, and I've had this happen, so, that's just the way it is. But let's not forget this, okay? I broke my arm a while back. In that time, TJ has only fought twice. 2 times. So you're telling me in 2 years you've only fought 2 times and you deserve all this stuff that you're talking about? I was out for 3.5 years, came back, took his title, fought Faber, and then fought Cody all in 1 year while I was doing TV in between that. And he's complaining about 2 fights in 2 years? Get out of here. Who deserves what is the one who's putting in the work and the time into the sport. And all we're getting out of TJ is a fight here and there that he picks while he dodges the one that builds the division. And then he whines in between that saying how he deserves everything in the world in pound-for-pound rankings while he doesn't build a division. He doesn't talk about the fight game. He doesn't promote the fight game. He doesn't explain it to the world. What is he really doing for mixed martial arts? What is he really doing for the bantamweight division to grow anything other than himself? The definition of a champion, the definition of greatness is building everybody around you, including the people that are underneath you, because they have to raise the bar to catch up to you. He's not doing that by dodging the best guys in the division and facing guys that are coming up and switching weight classes. Henry Cejudo needs to stay in his weight class too, because he needs to beat 125-pounders and clean out his division. Both these guys need to stay in their divisions, clean out their divisions, and then they can start trying to make these super fights. But until you become a legitimate champion in your weight class, beating everybody in your weight class, just shut up and do your job and fight. That's a champion.
And if there's anybody, all right, let's say this fight doesn't materialize with TJ for whatever reason, is there anybody else that you would be interested in fighting in the division?
I mean, there's nobody I'm interested in, but I will fight everybody. The only fight that interests me is the title fight, because that's the only fight that makes sense. I beat the guy who has the title. He can make an argument and say, I won that fight, this and that. Why? Because 2 of your teammates, including delusional, crying Dwayne Ludwig, told you beat me? Come on, man. That doesn't mean you won. 75% of media plus people in the UFC came up and said, you won that fight, Dom. And TJ's argument is, Dana White said I won that fight. All right, Dana told me the same thing. So now what? We're just going to keep going back and forth on he said, she said? Or are we going to actually have this rematch and prove who's the best in the division, like you should be doing? No. He'd rather whine, complain, and that's it.
Yeah, to be fair, you are TJ's last loss. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what anybody thinks, opinions, the record books, I'm looking at it right now, show a loss to Dominick Cruz. After that, he's on a 4-fight win streak. So listen, I'm just being in the middle. I've got nothing against TJ, but if I was him, I would want to eradicate that loss to you.
So, all right. I agree, Bisping. Being as you're a champion, I'm a champion. Why would he not want that loss? Let's go into that, since everybody seems to know he should want that loss back. Why would he not? And I can answer it, and then I want your answer. My answer is he's still in denial about losing. I didn't lose that fight, so I don't need to rematch it. But you did. It's on the record. I got paid double what you got paid. I have the title, and I won. And then I went on to defend it 2 times after that in 1 year. While you won it and whined.
Sure. I mean, I guess if we're playing devil's advocate, you would say, and I'm asking you, is this what you're saying? He doesn't want to fight you because he's worried about losing his title. Because last time he lost.
No, I wouldn't even say that. Bisping. Let's be fair. Like, everybody's got confidence, right? You wouldn't not fight somebody and worry about losing. I think it's more about he's pouting. I think he's more upset and just mad that I could get a title shot. He's like, he doesn't deserve it. Why does he think I don't deserve it? That's the real question. Where does he get that in his head? Where does that come from?
No,
Can you guys answer that?
I have no idea. For me, it's definitely the logical matchup. Because, I mean, of course, you were the long-time champ. You're back. You're injury-free. You were the last person to beat him. And all signs point to that fight happening. So for me, I can't think of a logical reason why not only TJ, why the UFC wouldn't do that.
And there's also not a bigger fight in the division. When you really look about it's a legitimate rivalry. Nothing is contrived. You guys don't like each other. You're the last guy to beat him. The story is written, into it. You don't need a countdown show. You can just literally describe what happened between you guys, and holy shit, the fight sells itself. So it is strange that TJ, as a businessman, wouldn't be going like, okay, that's the fight. Even the fact that it was a split decision, that should almost be enough to kind of go like, okay, this was super close. There's a lot to it. So I understand the point that you're I guess alluding to. But yeah, I mean, TJ, what do you think about that just in general? Because you are a champion, Bisping, you as well, but sort of, picking who you're going to fight. Did you ever sort of have that? Was there ever a guy in the past that you said, you know what, that guy didn't deserve it, and you were like, fuck that, I'm not going to give him a title shot?
No, absolutely not. And I think this is where TJ has this story made up in his head that he decides to be upset. He wanted an immediate rematch after I beat him, right? And obviously he didn't get it. I fought Faber. Why did I fight Faber? Faber is the biggest sale in the division at that time. We had a rivalry. We had a story. I needed to close that out. So I took that fight right away after I beat TJ. I beat Faber, and now I'm at a choice. Do I fight Cody Garbrandt? Do I fight TJ Dillashaw? Well, this is the thing. I could have done what TJ did and just said, I'm not fighting anybody. I'm just going to go and hold on to the belt. Or but
it doesn't make sense for you to fight. Dom, it doesn't make sense for you to fight Cody right now. No disrespect to Cody, but he's just lost his last 2, been knocked out in his last 2.
No.
That with greatest respect, that's
I'm not talking about
okay.
I'm talking about this is what happened when I was champion. Okay.
Yep.
So when I'm champion and I beat TJ, I got the belt. Then I go fight Faber. I beat Faber. He's mad that I fought Faber instead of rematching him. You understand? So what does he do? He fights Lineker. Then after he fights Lineker, I get another fight, and I fight Cody instead of TJ. So now that's 2 fights he believes he should have gotten the rematch against me. And then he goes on to fight Austin Sal. So the reason he's mad is while I kept fighting title fights in the 135-pound division, he had to fight Lineker and Austin Sal to get a title shot against Cody. You understand?
Yep.
So that pisses him off because I haven't fought while he just won the title and faced Cody twice. And he's like, he didn't have to fight anybody. Yeah, I broke my arm in half, you idiot. I wish I could have fought, but I couldn't. I have a steel plate in my arm.
Oh, I know about the steel plate, Dominic. I know about the steel plate.
I know you do. But he doesn't. He thinks I'm faking some injury or something. But it doesn't matter what he thinks. My point that I'm trying to make is that's what he's mad about. He's mad he had to take those 2 fights while I fought for the title. And I've been hurt while he fought for the title. But the other thing he doesn't add is that while he was fighting those other fights, I was fighting for the title. He's not doing anything right now except whining and trying to build matchups outside of the division. That's not what a champion does.
All right. Well, fingers crossed you get that matchup because honestly, that is the fight that should happen in terms of what's right for the division, who deserves it. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer in my opinion. Switching gears real fast, we'll let you go. Last question, Dom. Thanks again for taking the time. We appreciate it. I know you're out there with family. So, as I said, this weekend, Darren Till, Tyron Woodley, real fast. Who you got winning and why?
I'm actually, I think I might be calling that fight.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
that,
so I
you don't
think
want to
he's
say
a
it.
winner on that one. But I can tell you how I think the situation could go stylistically.
Sure, go on.
Yeah, I see Tyron Woodley being a powerful wrestler with good takedown defense. And, Till being very tough to take down. He moves in and out. He's long, he's tall, he's strong. So with all this stuff going on, I see Woodley being able to, maybe possibly hit Till, but he's going to have to pull. He's going to have to move forward. That's what's interesting about this matchup that I like. Is you usually see Woodley backing up, and he pulls you into his power. Well, with Till, you can't give Till that kind of space. He's too fluent, he's too in and out, and he uses his kicks very well, not to mention the height difference. So it's going to be interesting to see if Woodley can use his kicks, in my opinion, to close the distance on the range that he's missing. He'd have to start with the kicks and finish his combinations with hands in order to close that distance, because if he tries to reach Till with those hands first, he's going to get countered real bad. Other than that, I'd like to see Woodley, march forward, keep Till on his heels, and he's going to have to wrestle in this matchup with Till. He has to wrestle a little. In the past, we haven't seen Woodley have to wrestle with anybody. He can just defensively wrestle, hit you with some big shots, and that's it. I think he has the potential to stand with Till, of course, but the only way is to mix takedown and takedown threats into his striking so that Till has to worry a little bit about the takedown. Otherwise, Till's going to be able to get too much rhythm, too much fluidity with his strikes. His punch count will be too comfortable. His rhythm will be too comfortable. Takedowns separate all the timing. Takedowns separate rhythm. Takedowns separate punch count, and they force you to use different punches and different kicks if you're worried about a takedown. So those are the differences in the two styles that can really create problems for each other.
All right. Well, listen, Dom, appreciate it. Of course, you call in the fact that you, as you say, you can't predict anything. I've got a terrible voice, as you could probably hear. But listen, Dom, go back to your family, enjoy Labor Day, enjoy the break. And once again, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it, bud.
Hey, one more thing. Thanks for having me, but I am not begging at all for this fight with TJ. If he doesn't want to take it, that's fine with me.
Dom, I
I
know
want to point that out, though.
Yeah, but I know you as a person, you would never fucking beg for anything. I know that you just wouldn't. It's just not in your DNA. But okay, no, I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying.
Thank you, and I appreciate the time, and love you guys. Have a good Labor Day.
All right, buddy. All the best, man. See you, Dom.
All right, peace.
Dominic, thanks, buddy. Super passionate. Dominic can fucking talk. I'll tell you that. Say what you want about Dominick Cruz. He knows how to answer a question. This is the difference between guys who do television and radio a lot, because he knows how to answer a question in a very fluid way that fills out the entire time. You have enough time to think of your response. It's really good. And I'm rooting for him now because, to be honest with you, I love the fact, pretty real ass, to tell you right to your face that he thinks he can kick your ass.
Oh, no, for sure. That's Dominick Cruz to a T.